Welcome students. I wish you to see in the new class. Today the same electrostatics we are going to see the episode number 3, and in this episode number 3 we are going to see 3 topics and very important topics. First one is Coulomb force and gravitational force, the comparison and the difference between these two forces. Next one, the superposition principle. I will explain you about this superposition principle in detail. Then the electric field. We have come across this field, and let's see what do you mean by this electric field and what this electric field is going to explain us in this electrostatic chapter. Dear students, let's see or compare the two forces, Coulomb force and gravitational force. Let's see the pictures of these forces first. Using this, we can identify or we can derive the equation for these forces. See, this Coulomb force has two charges, Q1 and Q2. Okay, Q1 and Q2, or Q plus Q and minus Q. The gravitational force has masses M1 and M2. Both forces are central forces. Okay, the Coulomb force and the gravitational forces are central force. That means they act along the line joining the center of two charges or masses. Both forces obey inverse square law. That means F is proportional to 1 by R square, or here you can see Fe is equal to Q1 Q2 divided by R square, and F is proportional or equal to M1 M2 divided by R square. Here the R indicates the distance between these two charges or these two masses. Both Coulomb and gravitational force are conservative forces. That is, the work done by these is independent of the nature of the path. It does not depend upon the path. Here the conservative means, in Tamil we used to say kurainda or limited forces. Both forces can operate in vacuum. Do you know, students, electrostatic forces are very large as compared to gravitational forces. That is, the electrostatic force is 10 to the power 30 times stronger than gravitational force. Do you believe it? It's hard. The gravitational force of attraction has a value, or it can be have a formula. Fg is equal to G into Me Mp, mass of electron, mass of proton, divided by R square. Here the value of G is 6.67 into the power minus 11, and for Coulomb attraction, Fe is equal to K into Q1 Q2 divided by R square, or K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Altogether it is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Let's see the difference between this Coulomb force and gravitational force. First point, the Coulomb force is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of 2 point charges. Here Q1 and Q2 are the 2 point charges and they are directly proportional to the force. And in gravitational force, it is directly proportional to the product of the two masses. M1, M2 are the two masses here in this gravitational force. Coulomb force between two charges, that means between Q1 and Q2, can be attractive or repulsive depending upon the nature of charges. But in gravitational force, the gravitational force between two masses is always attractive. The value of the constant K in Coulomb law is K is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9 n m square c minus 2. The value of gravitational constant G in gravitational force is equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 11 n m square kg minus 2. Do you know the electrostatic force is always greater in magnitude than the gravitational force for smaller size objects. The fourth point of the difference between Coulomb force and gravitational force, the electrostatic force between the two charges depends on nature of the medium in which the two charges are kept at rest. Already I told you the electrostatic forces deals with the charges at rest. The gravitational force between two masses is independent of the medium. The final fifth point in this difference between Coulomb and gravitational force, the Coulomb force, as the charges are in motion, yet another force, that means the Lorentz force, comes into play in addition to the Coulomb force. And in gravitational force, the gravitational force between two point masses is the same whether the two masses are at rest or even in motion. Now let's move to the superposition principle. What is the importance of this superposition principle? First, let me tell an important message. This law of superposition was formulated by a Danish geologist, Nicholas Steno. The superposition principle is important both because it simplifies finding solutions to the complicated linear problems, that means the straight line problems, and because of many of the fundamental laws of physics are linear, this superposition principle become very important. Now let's see what it states. Superposition principle mean, or it derives, the force acting on a given charge is equal to the vector sum of the forces exerted on it by all the other charges. The superposition principle is an important idea that can explain the fact including the interference, diffraction and the standing waves. Now, to move into this superposition principle or to prove this superposition principle, let us consider a system of n number of charges, Q1, Q2, Q3 till to Qn, and the force on Q1, that means the charge number 1, applied by the charge number 2, that means Q2, is F12 is equal to K into Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square into R21 cap. Then the force on Q1 exerted by the charge Q3. Now we are taking this Q1 and Q3, and it is F13 is equal to K into Q1 Q3 divided by R31 square into R31 cap. By continuing this, the total force acting on the charge Q1 due to all the other charges is given by F1 total or Fi total is equal to F12 plus F13 plus F14 plus till F1n. Therefore, if you substitute the values as like F12 and F13, we can have F1 total is equal to K into, we take K common, and Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square into R21 cap plus Q1 Q3 divided by R31 square into R31 cap plus Q1 Q4 divided by R41 square into R41 cap plus till it moves to Q1 Q2 divided by Rn1 square into Rn1 cap. Now let's think about the electric field. What do you mean by this electric field? Electric field is defined as the electric force per unit charge. The direction of the field is taken to be the direction of the force it would exert on a positive charge. And let's see what it actually tells about this field which this electric energy acquires. The space in the surrounding of any charge. Can you see this picture? Yeah, this is a positive charge. Now, this is a charge and the electric field is from a negative charge. The space in the surrounding of any charge in which its influence can be experienced by other charges is called electric field. The electric field is radially outward from a positive charge. You can see here it is radially outward from the positive charge and radially inward toward a negative point charge. What causes an electric field? You can see in this picture gives you about the movement of an electric field. A charged object creates an electric field, a variation in the space or field in the region that surrounds it. Other charges in that field would feel the unusual modification of the space. Whether a charged object enters that space or not, the electric field exists in that area. Now, most of us have feel the electric shock in our life like this. Okay, while connecting the bulb or if you give any circuits or if you modify any circuit, you may caught with the electric shock. Why this electric shock happen? Actually, low frequency electric field influence the human body just as they influence and any other material which are made up of charged particles. As you know, we are a good conductor because in our body we have the water particles more than any other conductors. So this charged particles in our body cause current to flow through the body to the ground. So the current from the wire try to pass through our body and it wants to reach the ground. That's why we feel shock while touching the electric circuits. Now what do you mean by this electric field lines? We saw what do you mean by this electric field. Now electric field is a vector quantity and the SI unit is Newton per Coulomb, NC minus 1. Electric field intensity. Electric field intensity at a point in an electric field is defined as the force experienced by a unit positive point charge called test charge Q0. Here we denote the test charge with the term Q0 and supposed to be placed at the point. The test charge does not affect the source charge or charge distribution producing the field. Actually, the test charge is treated as a guest here in this electric circuit. The electrostatic force experienced by the charge Q0 or Q0 due to the original charge Q. Here this Q0 is a test charge and Q is the original charge is the given by the Coulomb law. Therefore E is equal to F divided by Q0, which is equal to KQ divided by R square into R cap, or 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. That means this is the value of K, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, Q by R square into R cap, or F is equal to K into Q0, because we add the test charge here, divide by R square into R cap, which is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q0 divided by R square into R cap, where K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Okay. Now let's move to the important aspects of this electric field. First one, if the charge Q is positive, then the electric field points away from the source, and if the charge Q is negative, it points inward to the source. The electric field point towards the source charge is Q. Second point, if the electric field at a point P is E, then the force experienced by the test charge Q0 is placed at the point P is given by F is equal to Q0 into E. The equation is E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q divided by R into R cap. And this equation implies that the electric field is independent of the test charge Q0 and it depends only on the source charge Q. Since the electric field is a vector quantity, at every point in space the field has unique direction and magnitude. Fifth point, from equation V is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R into R cap, we can infer that as distance increases, the electric field decreases in magnitude. Sixth point, in the definition of electric field, the test charge Q0 is taken sufficiently small so that bringing this test charge will not move the source charge. Seventh point, the expression E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R into R cap is valid only for point charges, and for continuous and finite size charge distribution, integration techniques must be used. The eighth point is there are two kinds of electric field. One is uniform electric field and another one is non-uniform electric field. The uniform electric field is a constant one. Thank you students. Thank you, and let's meet in the next class.